Item 11B, discussion regarding South Macon Elementary School.
Mr. Chairman, we, the liaison committee, you've heard, and I think Mr. Gibbs is here, we had talked about, I think this board's well aware, that during our discussions with the budget about South Macon School, and they were going to wait and see what the enrollment numbers were for the lower grades and whether they had need for an addition. After those numbers come back and they decided that yes, it was a need for an addition. They would like to look for an addition for around 9,700 square feet, along with an additional 1,200 square feet for an addition to the cafeteria. So we know how long this process takes when you start a school project. So Mr. Shields and I have talked and talked to Mr. Baldwin, and what we would like to do is authorize this board to authorize the school board to go ahead and get quotes from an architect. They choose the architect, the school board does, that's just the rules. And they choose the architect and go ahead and get a quote from an architect. So if we start the process now, if everything goes well, we could start construction in the spring, maybe. We know how long it takes.
Yeah, they're going to have to put out a request for proposal.
That's right.
For architectural services. One thing that we need to think about is past projects. If the county's going to end up undertaking to do the construction, which I suspect it will, those architectural services will need to be able to be transferred to the county.
Just like we've done all of it. And I understand there might be some QZAB money available.
Yes, sir.
So is that
QZAB,
Q-
yeah, you can't use it for new
Yeah,
construction.
QZAB's for existing footprint only.
Yeah.
oh, that's for renovation only.
Right.
Is
Yes,
QSCAB?
Yes, sir. There are no QSCAB funds that I can find on the internet.
That's for new construction.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we'd like to have I think we need this board's approval to give the school board approval to advertise and get some quotes back for architects. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, I think you need to let them understand that
It'll be just like all the
we're in
rest of it.
support of the project.
Yeah.
I think it's basically.
They're looking at, we don't know, of course we won't know what the costs are, but looking back, and you're probably looking around $200 a square foot for the main, and probably $200 a square foot for all of it. And then that, you got to know that school is now Todd, about 20 years old.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So you wouldn't think that, but it sure is. And and that school is on a chiller. We need to remember that, and the problems that comes along with that. So, and I mentioned to Tracy and Mr. Baldwin and our manager too that it's time to probably really have an engineer really look at that thing and make sure that everything's working properly with that thing. And if you remember, there were some problems I remember when it was built, there was problems with that. But they improvised and did different things, so I don't know where that stands. I've talked to Tracy a little bit about it. But what I'm asking the board to do, and Mr. Shields can speak to it, and Mr. Manager, you certainly can, is just authorize the school board to advertise for architectural fees. RFP for architectural fees.
Would this board
I'll second.
likewise want me to go ahead and speak with Mr. John Henny Jr. about the paperwork that would be necessary, the interlocal agreement to get this project?
I mean, he should have a stack about that tall about what we've done over the past 10 years. So.
Okay. The bottom line is that process needs to get started pretty quickly.
Right.
And we're doing this because they're at capacity, exceeding capacity, and I presume that there's no room at the other schools to move them to.
Well, and if you know the farm, they've got children
Got 3
where,
classrooms.
yeah, and Mr. Team, our farm marshal, has done, and he's cutting them some. Well, I ain't gonna say cutting them slack, but he's letting them. I can't say they're in violation. He had to charge them, but the children need new classrooms. I'll just say that, Mr. Chairman.
So we got a motion from you.
I'll second. And Dr. Baldwin is not here tonight, but he's aware of what, he's at a meeting in Nantahala.
I'm familiar just speaking with a few of the school board members. Any further discussion? Or
Is
questions on
this, I know y'all as the liaison, but I'm not familiar with it. is this the preferred option? I mean, are there any other options other than additional? I mean, is Iowa, East Franklin, or any
Not for that.
transferring or shifting?
Not for this amount of children.
No.
This is 6 classrooms.
How many?
6.
How many kids? How many children are you needing?
Well, there are 3 classes that are not in classrooms right now. They're in other spaces that South Macon has adjusted to work as a classroom.
And so it just makes sense. This is such an easy place to put an addition. Paul, if you look at this school, it just makes sense like everything else we've tried to do since we started all these schools. If you're going to do that and build this corridor, if you're going to come out with this corridor, if you're going to put 3 classrooms here, you might as well figure for a little expansion down the road for the next 10, 15 years. So put 3 classrooms on the other side. You could do it probably half the amount of square footage now than you can in the future. The same thing on the cafeteria. Both of them are, if you're going to put an addition onto a school, probably the easiest thing you'll ever put on in South Macon.
Yeah,
That's one thing they did.
What I was getting to though is East Franklin. Is it
It's at capacity too.
Yes,
They're hurting
yes,
too.
it's at capacity. Cartuja is also. The one that probably has the most space is Iola. It's the newest, but they're closing in on that. And to move all the districts to alleviate the overcrowding at South Macon and move it to capacity to Iola, you're going to be affecting Cartuja, South Macon, and East Franklin. To adjust the districts to move that, the students from South Macon, bump them all to get to Iola to fill up a classroom or 2 there, but you're still going to be at capacity at South Macon.
And you would, I think after they looked at all the numbers, even if they done that, you might not accomplish what you was after.
Right.
That's correct.
So, I mean, that's we sort of build in anticipation of
Is that
that.
septic or sewer out at the
Sewer, something.
South Macon? Is there sewer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yes they are.
Go to that Addington Bridge.
All right.
Yeah, Addington Bridge.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, item C.
Thank you, Tom.
Mr. Decker, vacation?
Yes, sir. The folks at Health and Human Services at the state level are asking DSS and Health and County holiday schedules have been approved for 2018. So what I submitted to you was simply a proposed schedule for 2018 that follows the state schedule. Been the same way we've had for the past 6-7 years. Number of holidays stays at 12.
Motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Good. You good? You want to talk about it?
No.
You good?
I was
Okay.
gonna say this, we had a storm or something, we'd keep it to 12.
All right, item D, wastewater treatment at Nantahala.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, have Mr. Gibbs and Mr. Fay here with us tonight. If any of you aren't aware, I think that we can all safely say that the wastewater treatment facility that is currently being used by the Nantahala School is in need of repair, a complete overhaul, if you will, and Mr. Gibbs has found a way to accomplish this through grant funding, through a CDBG grant. And as he was going through that process, Mr. Fay from the county has been through that process many times. It's what he does there in the housing department, and he has worked with Mr. Gibbs to get this ready to go. And at this time, I'll just ask Mr. Gibbs to fill us in on what's going on, the grant, what it's going to do for Nantahala, and what is going to be required of this board.
Yes, sir. The community development block grants are federal money. These infrastructure grants are being administered by the state. You can correct me anytime if I don't get this right. He's got a whole lot more experience than I do. Went to a meeting in Winston-Salem a couple of months ago, and the meeting involved Department of Environmental Natural Resources, talking about these grants. And in the audience were nothing but educational people, because these grants are aimed at infrastructure support for schools and school systems. I was working on it, had some questions on the application itself. 3 weeks ago, called Julie Kubetta, who was with Diener, and she said that really the counties, this is federal money, and really this money is awarded to counties, not to school systems, and my thought was, why didn't you tell us that 2 or 3 months ago? So then I reached out to Mr. Fay, Mr. Rowland, and they've been gracious enough to really help me through it. But Mr. Fay has much more experience, and he could probably talk about more of the requirements of the board than I could to make this happen.
This is not unlike the CDBG single-family rehabilitation program. If you recall, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, the legislature took all that money away and put it into infrastructure. They no longer were they rehabbing houses. So as a result of that, they went into this wastewater and freshwater program, and they have a special section, CDBGI, that is for school systems. And basically, they can be pretty complicated in that Mr. Gibbs has already done a tremendous amount of work and collected this stuff and really kind of dotted the i's across the t's. But also, he's aware of what happens when dealing with these types of grants. They're exactly right. You find out about a lot of stuff afterwards. So I don't want to sit here and say that it's a smooth road all the way. So knowing that up front, the thing that I going through the application, I see that the board, and I'm not sure exactly because of the time constraints, here we're talking October 31st, the application has to be submitted. In order to do that, first off, the county really needs to, you all would need to officially assign somebody to represent the county. It'd have to be by proclamation. You'd have to vote on it and say, this particular person is going to be representing the county on this grant. From everything I've read, I don't think it has to be a county person. In other words, you could, from what I can gather, you could select Mr. Gibbs to continue on with the process and go through with it. But there needs to be official action taken on that. The other official action that needs to be taken with this grant is going to be officially adopting the results of the public hearing that's being held. Now, that's kind of hard to do when the public hearing, that's why Dr. Baldwin's not with us this evening. He's in Antahela conducting the public hearing around this. Mr. Gibbs has informed them up there and the principal of what the criteria needs to be covered to satisfy this grant application in this public hearing. So at some point in time, between now and October 31st, the board would need to adopt the minutes of that hearing that's being conducted. As far as official action, that's basically it. Sign somebody, select somebody that you want to complete the application and make application to the county, and then somewhere between now and the 31st, adopt the minutes of that the public hearing that's taking place in Antahela.
So the language you want to use, John, is to select someone to represent the GDBG
Yes, sir.
request? Is that how you want to put it, or
What they're, if I can give you this language from here.
why don't you go up to the podium, John?
It says, as authorized representative, he or she has been authorized to file this application by formal action of the governmental body.
So he's representing the county, or would it be you or Todd able to do that?
Actually, according to the way this thing is worded, and from what I've seen, you could have anybody that you wanted to.
Somebody knows what they're doing.
Well, no, that probably not be a good idea.
So you know, would it be you, John, that would carry the water on it, or who would carry the water on it?
Well, Todd has done all of the technical, and he's aware of the technical aspects. I'm aware of the
So
CDBG
you'd Scott
process.
him along.
Pardon?
You'd have him though.
Absolutely, yeah. Without a doubt.
This is just for the application for the grant.
This is the application for the grant.
This is the app-
And
you
grant,
want to do it?
Yes, sir, I will do that.
With that, the application is everything.
Yeah, it's,
It
makes or breaks it.
as we well know.
That's it, yeah, I've been through that one.
He will, I mean, I don't want to say you go do it if you're not interested, but if you're interested, and that's
Yes, sir.
great, man, that's 200,
We're applying for $200,000.
yeah.
And,
That's,
it's all grant, no match.
and the plant's gonna be
What
replaced.
you're saying is the grant application is not to be made by the school board, but instead
The
the county.
county is
Yes, sir.
eligible, whereas the school board itself is. They are eligible through us.
Is there any security that has to be given for the grant?
No security, the only thing I've seen is assurances. And that's it.
What do we need to do about the meeting?
So can we authorize, Mr. Attorney, can we go ahead and approve those minutes that are taking place tonight, now? Why?
Can we vote to
If
let
you
the
could show me
county
what they
manager?
are.
Well, that's a pretty good idea what they are. Mount Hale residents have voiced their concern over the sewer plant and want to replace it.
Can we authorize the county manager to do that?
The problem is that I've not even seen the grant application. I don't know if anybody.
If it says the
on
board has to vote on it, you
has
better let the board vote on it. We know that from the past experience.
That's exactly right. And one of the things
And
is
another
that,
thing I'm a little bit concerned about is again, I'm not seeing the grant package, but I'm a little bit concerned that if the entity applying for the grant is not the one that held the public hearing, I'm a little concerned there. It may not be a problem, but typically the entity applying for the grant holds the public hearing.
in all, from what I've been through, as far as all of the materials that they've made available to us for the application, they don't cover that. But there may be some legal issues as far as the actual federal government
And it
goes.
may not be a problem at all,
Right.
but I guess what I'm saying is the county might want to take a real quick look at that, because if there is a concern there, it sounds to me like we've got to get, we have to have
So,
that.
Mr. Manager, you want to go ahead and do all we can do tonight and let the county attorney look at it, and then when we get the minutes, can we vote on them?
We vote on them by consensus and then ratify it at the November meeting. If we get a unanimous, can you send out an email poll vote?
One of the things is,
There's not anything to vote on. There are no minutes
To
approve.
accept, when they become
When they
available.
become available.
Can I send them to the board via email? And if,
What is the requirement of the grant?
okay, the grant, as far as what we'll have to have, we're going to have documentation that shows from Mr. Decker that will show that there was a vote held and that they adopted those minutes from that public hearing.
There's no minutes.
Well, there will be minutes.
and designated.
I mean,
county-
after night, there'll be minutes. And so can what Derek's asking, can we send those minutes out by email and let's vote on them?
You need to,
Before the 31st.
what I am saying to you is, first of all, there needs to be minutes. I don't know what the approval is. I mean, is the approval,
In
what is the approval intended to be?
they put this in red in their information. And why they say adopted, I don't know, because it sounds like you're saying you agree with what's in there. And basically, the way I understand it is you're not agreeing, you're just saying that, hey, we held a public hearing and what you've adopted
And
is
you
the
said you
framework.
didn't hold a public hearing. That's my first concern.
Well, let's see, it says a copy of the advertised notice, which Todd has, in the minutes of the public hearing adopted it says minutes of the public hearing adopted by the unit of general local government. So it's saying, it didn't say where those come from. It says the local government unit adopted those.
And they're having that meeting tonight.
Or you can,
They're having that meeting tonight.
yes, sir.
What if we,
That's what I'm thinking, is what I mean, typically, when you're sending in minutes of a public hearing that was required as part of the process, typically what you are saying is, this is what happens at that meeting. We're certifying that this is what happens at that meeting. We were there, this is what was said. This is a fair statement, if you will, of what happened at that meeting. Not anybody in this room that can say.
Let's do this if everybody's in agreement with it. I mean, this is $200,000 to replace this system. It's not going to require a match. I mean, it's a home run.
Right.
Why don't we let Chester review that grant application, review the public hearing, and see if that will see if that's going to hold up for this application. And between now and then, if we need to call another meeting before October 31st to approve those minutes, or if we need to set a public hearing before October 31st, or both, then we can do so at that time.
We have a problem if we do have to do another public hearing, we've got to hold the public hearing when we advertise it. You got 10 days, and that's got to happen within that time period. If not,
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 21 days, so that's why I'm saying something needs to be looked at immediately.
right, right.
So if the board's in agreement, that would be what I would recommend to move forward.
So we'll just recess tonight's meeting. And then we may have to meet back.
Well, we'd have to-
You don't necessarily have to recess, is what we can call a special
Yeah.
meeting, and we can address it in a special meeting if that's necessary.
All right.
Good job.
Well, you going to vote on Todd?
We'll have to do it all at one time.
Let's just do it all.
I mean, you're going to have a meeting then.
Well, why don't we go ahead and nominate?
Go ahead and
Go ahead and vote on Todd.
Or does it have to be one action? I mean,
No.
good.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the school board will be in favor of that as well?
Yes, sir, I would assume that also.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
All right. Congratulations, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you for.
It was real easy.
Todd and John.
Thank you I think for working together, I think that's a great, John, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for bringing,
Both of you.
I mean, you know the lick is done by.
We've done this radio before.
You've been down there, we've been down that road time or two, you know the lick is done by.
All right, we'll get a motion to approve the
Who
consent.
has that grant package?
John, who's got the grant package?
Actually, Todd has the whole package. I've got it in basically the blanks. On
Can we get
the
that
package.
digital?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll
Sure.
get to work on it.
Just
Thank
give it to
you.
me and I'll get it.
Sure.
Over.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.